effective coalitions. These are some of the highlights from the 2012 Obesity Prevention and Public Health course held last August in UNC Chapel Hill. A little bit about myself before we get started. My name is Jodi Birkofer. I am the Early Childhood Obesity Prevention Projects Coordinator in the Nutrition Services branch under the Prevention Services Division here at the department. So some of the goals from the 2012 Obesity Prevention and Public Health course include promoting and supporting evidence-based practice with a focus on implementing and sustaining effective policy and environmental change interventions. Some of the 2012 curriculum specifically addresses the shifting priorities and current challenges facing public health practitioners and providing an opportunity for them to develop collaboration and communication skills to advance public policy and environmental changes in their states and communities. So the course focused on prevention. So just thinking of prevention as quality prevention is the prescription for obesity. So the spectrum of prevention was one of the things that we looked at throughout the weekly conference. So these included influencing policy and legislation, changing organizational practices, fostering coalitions and networks, educating providers, promoting community education, and strengthening individual knowledge and skills. This was a really great quote from the conference. The determinants of health are beyond the capacity of any one practitioner or discipline to manage. We must collaborate to survive as disciplines and as professionals attempting to help our communities and each other. I thought this was a really great segue to our topic for today on coalitions. So what exactly are coalitions? They are affiliations of people or groups with a shared purpose. They are partnerships working together collaboratively to influence outcomes on a specific issue. Coalitions may be time-sensitive, frustrating, inefficient, and poorly utilized. But they can also be a tool for achieving effectiveness and sustainability. Effective coalitions allow you to bring together diverse experiences and skills, gather a wide array of perspectives, combine advocacy power, provide access to more partners and networks, create greater focus and common goals, and foster sustainability. So what we're going to focus on today is really how do we develop effective coalitions. And the 8-step process is a really great tool for developing effective coalitions. So we're first going to analyze program objectives, determine whether to form a coalition. The second step would be recruiting the right people, devising preliminary objectives and activities, convening the coalition, anticipating necessary resources, develop a successful structure, maintain coalition vitality, and improve through evaluation. So we'll go through each of these 8 steps in a little bit more detail. So looking back at the first step. So first you're going to analyze your program's objectives and determine whether to form a coalition. So some of these activities in the first step would include to clarify your current objectives, examine approaches which might be effective, and assess your current community strengths and needs. Different types of collaborations can include grassroots, community-based organizations, and then governmental organizations. Some examples of partnerships across sectors. So health and public health justice and law enforcement, social services, and then housing. Moving on to step number 2, so recruiting the right people. So identify people working on that specific issue. Consider who has influence, who are the big decision makers. Determine who will be supportive, who may put obstacles in your path, and consider how many people should be involved. It's really important when you're recruiting members to value equity. So keeping in mind that your stakeholders are more than just placeholders. So simply inserting a person from a disparate population into the process is not enough. So diverse and divergent perspectives. So engage in how perspectives differ and how those differences may influence decisions and solutions. So really thinking about the buy-in for change. The third step is to set preliminary objectives and activities. So propose a variety of activities to meet members' needs and skills. And then identify your short-term successes. The fourth step is to go ahead and convene the coalition. So you can do this through an invited meeting, a training, or a conference. Step number 5 is to anticipate necessary resources. So thinking about your clerical needs, meeting planning, preparation, and facilitation, who's really going to be facilitating everything, sending out emails, reminders, finding meeting space. Also membership recruitment, orientation, and encouragement takes some time and staff needs. Research and data collection, are you going to be evaluating the work being done? And then participation in activities and projects, so just really encouraging all members to be active. The sixth step is to devise a successful coalition structure. So some important questions that you're going to want to ask would be, should the coalition be ad hoc or ongoing? How long and frequent should the meetings be? Should agencies officially join the coalition? How will decisions be made? How will the agendas be structured? How much will members realistically participate between meetings? So all important things to ask members of the coalition. Step number 7, maintaining the coalition's vitality. So difficulties generally arise due to poor group dynamics, inadequate membership participation, ineffective coalition activities, external changes which affect the coalition's mission. So TERF is a term generally used to describe the conflict between organizations with seemingly common goals. So TERF issues can arise because sometimes coalitions tend to be made up of very passionate people, almost always. Non-coalition related issues are brought into the coalition, so really losing focus on a common goal. Sometimes there are conflicting agendas or previous bad relations among members. Also control over the coalition, so who has identity, the ideology, and the strategy? Who gets the recognition and the resources? So managing TERF, some helpful tips for coalition leaders would be to obviously acknowledge the potential TERF issues, shape a collective identity, secure funding, and then remind participants of the big picture. And this is very important to do at each meeting that you have, just making sure everyone is on the same page and is aware of the common goal. And the 8th and final step is to make improvements through evaluation. So you're going to want to ask for feedback from all members of your coalition. Evaluate the effectiveness of specific activities that were held. Know when it's time to dissolve, disband, or change the structure of the coalition. So some benefits of evaluation would be assistance in making the work more effective, to identify and reveal the best practices. Also, evaluation provides evidence to warrant continuation or replication of the work of the collaboration. And then, of course, our funders like to see the outcomes. Different types of evaluation to consider would be impact evaluation. So impact evaluation assesses the ultimate effect of program activity on a specific community or target group. Outcome evaluation assesses whether the specific intervention had the intended impact. And then process evaluation, monitor or document the specific activities, interactions taken to achieve a given outcome or impact. So deciding which type of evaluation would work best for your coalition. And then, of course, it's important to recognize the unintended successes. So coalition organizers should avoid getting so caught up in any one effort as to view it as make or break. Every effort prepares for greater and more sustained efforts in the future. So some words of wisdom for coalition building. Some helpful tools when you are starting to look for some valuable stakeholders or partners would be this collaboration multiplier approach. So the first step would be to gather a little bit of information about potential stakeholders. So that might be an email that you would send out and you'd ask some questions before you would convene your actual coalition meeting. So some questions that you might want to ask potential stakeholders would be regarding importance. So why is this issue important to you in your field? Some organizational goals questions. What are your organization's goals related to this issue? What unique expertise does your field bring to this collaborative? And then assets and strengths. What resources, skills, training, funding can you bring to the table? Some other information gathering questions would include the desired outcomes. So what specific results, outcomes are you seeking as a result of this collaboration? What does success look like to you? Data. What data do you collect and how? So how are you going to evaluate? Putting that out first and foremost. Partnerships. What partners or participants can you bring to the table and enhance outcomes? And then the organizational benefit. How does your organization benefit from participation in this collaborative? So once you gather information, you would go ahead and find some of the stakeholders that you feel would work best in your coalition. You'd go ahead and convene the meeting. And you would have everyone's information already put together in this collaboration multiplier form. So you'd put each one of your stakeholders, the name, and you put their expertise, desired outcomes, and key strategies. So you do this for each one of your partners or your stakeholders. And then in the middle, you would put the shared outcomes, your strengths, and then joint strategies. So really defining a common goal at your first coalition meeting. So this is a very helpful tool that you could just give to everyone and make sure everyone is aware of the partnership and the goals moving forward. And here are some examples of different sectors that have filled this out. That might be helpful. And then an example of the full collaboration multiplier approach. So this is a very useful tool. So I'd like to thank you for participating today, and I hope that the information presented will be of use when developing coalitions. please don't hesitate to contact me with any questions. My email is on the screen, and the collaboration multiplier approach document will also be with this presentation. And have a great day. Thank you.
Click on dashboard, the second one, up at the top. The second.
Oh.
Yeah. See, just the plus. Okay, so go up to screen sharing. We have to be able to shut this off. Okay, there, so stop recording.